So, episode 4 of The Well of Wellness, and that was the Purple Disco Machine remix of Spiller's Groove Jet, featuring Sophie Ellis-Bextor. It's a classic with a retake. So we're in the well, episode 4, the temperature. I've got a thermometer now, Derek the well thermometer, and we're about 10 degrees centigrade. So, yeah, not that cold, but cold enough. And today, for this episode, I want to talk about self-care. So I'm practicing self-care right now. This is my take on it, and it's helping me with my long COVID, but it's also giving me a boost of energy and creativity. It's making me buzz in the mornings, actually, once I've done this early on. But self-care, what comes to mind when we say the word self-care? Do we think it's self-indulgent? Do we think it's selfish? Do we think it's soft? Is it something that is a luxury? Is it conducive to tough, high-performing, high-achieving environments? What comes to mind? Is it seen as something that we need to pay lip service to? Or is it something in our workplaces that we need to integrate, that we need to promote, that we need to give people permission for? You see, for me, self-care is an essential component of high performance. And I think if you were to look at the elite sporting world and that embodies high performance at the top end, our elite athletes cannot perform at the level that they do without caring for themselves, without recovering from the stresses of training, without eating healthily, without prioritizing sleep, without doing all of the things that keeps them well, both mentally and physically. And yet, our corporate athletes think we're invincible. We think we can go from back to back, Zoom to Teams, to Zoom to Teams, to meeting, to stressful thing, to deadline, to boss, to client, whatever it might be, and be superhuman without needing those breaks, without taking our vacation, without recharging at weekends. So if we truly want to perform at our best, self-care is essential. And it's essential at the senior leader level to talk about it, to practice it, to role model it. It's essential at the mid-management level to give people permission in teams to do it, talking about well-being non-negotiables, celebrating those well-being wins, the good night's sleep, the time off to look after mental health, the getting back to see our children or our families. And at the individual level, it's about taking accountability for self-care and prioritizing it. So I'm not suggesting that getting into a freezing cold well is going to be your idea of self-care, but what's important is to think about reflecting on what's necessary for you to stay well, for you to thrive more of the time, for you to perform at your best. Because self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not self-indulgent. Self-care is an essential component of high performance. So make sure you're practicing your self-care, particularly as we're tired, coming to the end of the calendar year, ready for a break, many of us. Make sure you're weaving in those things that help you stay well. Thank you so much.